Julie, I met personally Julie at a protest where we were campaigning for the Free Juggy Now team, and Julie was there for the Justice for the 21 outside the Conservative conference in 2018. Now, Julie, and there was a lot of other campaigns there. Julie came on board and we were all networking and speaking about our campaigns and the history behind it. I just want Julie to let you know a bit about the Justice for the 21, because it's a very important campaign that we would like you all to get behind.
On the 21st of November 1974, if you're not from Birmingham, England, 2 bombs went off in 2 separate pubs, murdering 21 innocent people and leaving over 200 with life-changing injuries. One of the 21 that was killed was my sister. Her name was Maxine Hambleton. She was only 18. She had a whole life ahead of her. She was studying for her A-levels and she wanted to one day become a lawyer. She had just returned from France, grape picking in the Champagne vineyards, to improve her French, which was one of her A-levels, and she was killed with her friend Jane Davis, who was only 17. There were 19 other people who were killed, 2 of whom were brothers from Ireland. His wife was due to have a baby. He never got to see his son. 2 other young men, they were only 17 and 16 years of age. They were only walking past one of the pubs. And the lad, Paul Davis, had a son due. He never got to see that son, and his son is part of our campaign. And the youngest, Neil Marsh, was only 16. They were both of Jamaican descent and were merely walking past the pubs. On the 21st of November this year, it will be the 45th memorial, where we still have no justice. They sent 6 men away for this mass murder, which then turned out, 18 years later, to be the biggest miscarriage of justice that the United Kingdom has ever seen. And we have had to fight. My brother and I began a campaign. We then, nearly a decade ago, we had supporters from Birmingham come and help us, who just out of the kindness of their hearts have helped us to get to where we are today. And we have had to fight for an inquest because we never had an inquest. We had the inquest earlier this year that left far more questions than answers, and we are still fighting West Midlands Police for truth, justice and accountability. We've been refused legal aid over 6 times, where we've had to bare our financial souls time and again, where at one point they turned us down for legal aid just earlier this year by telling us that they saw no merit in our case, which is when we wanted to bring a judicial review against the coroner, who decided that he wanted to exclude the murderers from our inquest. The murderers created the deaths. How can you exclude the murderers from an inquest? So we judicially reviewed him. We were refused legal aid because the legal aid agency said they saw no merit in our case. We went ahead. Our supporters from across the United Kingdom, from all cultures, from all backgrounds, from all faiths and around the world, helped us to raise over £35,000 in less than 5 weeks so that we could pay to bring the judicial review. And guess what? We won. So if we'd have followed the legal aid's advice and not have gone forward, that would have led to a potential another miscarriage of justice. However, the coroner, who has access to a bottomless pit of money, our money, taxpayers' money, decided to appeal that decision. And we went to the Supreme Court in London and we lost. By this time we were emotionally, psychologically and physically worn out, exhausted, which is what the state wants. They want you to stop. But we went into the inquest. And the inquest left us with more questions than answers. So we continue to fight to this day for our loved ones who are not here to fight for it themselves.
Julie, you're speaking very passionately because you've put a lot of time, effort, and your heart and soul into this campaign. Do you know that some of the experiences whilst campaigning, have you like, we're calling this a miscarriage of justice, there's a lot of miscarriages of justice. Have you met any other campaigns that have felt the miscarriage of justice in the UK like that?
Oh, absolutely. There are so many. There are thousands of families in Northern Ireland, in England, who suffer. Jaggy, a perfect example, shows how the state is so politically driven to bury such miscarriages of justice, quite literally, into the dirt. We have always said, my brother and I, that we feel that the state could bury us next to our dead because we dare raise our heads above the parapet, which is exactly the same for you with the rights of Jaggy, fighting for Jaggy, and quite rightly you should do so. The Hillsborough families, even though they were given, for want of a better expression, a blank cheque by Theresa May for their legal representation in their inquest of a few years ago, they are still fighting for justice now, because if you go up against the juggernaut of the British state, which you know what it's like, we know what it's like, you are literally David versus Goliath.
Yeah, it's difficult, very difficult. The experiences campaigning, how much support have you had over the years, like 1974 to now? When did the Justice for the 21 campaign, did it start straight away?
No, because when the bombings happened nearly 45 years ago, they immediately arrested 6 men who became known as the Birmingham Six. Okay. And for most people, that was done and dusted. We were told that they had caught the men who had committed this most heinous crime. Then, some 17 years later, Paddy Hill, who was the fighter for the Six, who was one of the Birmingham Six, appealed their convictions, and on their third appeal in 1991 their convictions were quashed due to unsafe evidence, and they were awarded compensation. Imagine being sentenced to such, at that time it was the most heinous crime committed on English soil. Of course. And Paddy has become one of our staunchest supporters, because we're fighting for the same thing. He's fighting to clear his name, and we're fighting to get those who committed this atrocity to be brought to book. Quite rightly. We live in what is meant to be a democratic society. But how can we live in a democratic society when the police have not, for the past 40 years, actually longer, 44 years, not investigated or looked for the real perpetrators who murdered 21 people and left 200 people with life-changing injuries, which means that murderers can come to any of our cities in the UK, kill with impunity without any fear of retribution. Is that the sort of society that we want to leave for future generations? Of
course we don't. Of course we don't.
But that is exactly what we are doing if we don't continue to fight.
Yeah,
that's why we continue to fight. It's not just for our loved ones, it's for future generations.
Definitely taking a stand on something you believe in. It's everyone's democratic right.
Absolutely.
Some people get vilified for taking a stand, and you know, like it's very difficult out there to take this stand. Like you said, it's like David and Goliath. The 2020 West Midlands Crime Commission. You're going for the post.
I am. I'm going for the post of West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner. I have been put forward from the support from our supporters from the Justice for the 21 campaign, and they suggested that this is something that I should put my foot into. I was apprehensive because I'm an ordinary person just like everybody else, but I realised, why not? what do I have to lose? I have everything to gain if I am elected into this post. And if I am elected into this post, I will do what it says on the tin, and that is to be the conduit between the police and victims of crime, because the current incumbent does not instill or embed that in any shape or form. And I can say that honestly and factually because we have had meetings with the current incumbent and he has done nothing for us, which is Birmingham's biggest mass crime in its history, and he has done nothing to support us as the families of victims of the most heinous crime in Birmingham's history.
How many families are behind the Justice for the 21 and the Justice for the 21 campaign? When you were going for your position, you did your meeting at the one of the venues, and we even came to support. It was a fantastic atmosphere. You look like you've got so much support out there.
My support is actually growing every day, amazingly, because I'll be standing as an independent. Now that's really important to everyone who is listening. I am not going to be part of a political party campaign. No one will be pulling my strings. And as an independent, I need funding because unlike the others, for instance, the Conservative candidate for the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner, he will be funded by the Conservatives, where he'll have a team of people and he will have a funding pot to fall back on. I have nothing. The same for the Labour candidate. He will have a funding pot and a team behind him that will be paid. I have no one to pay because I have no funding. The people who are helping me, my campaign manager works full time in another job whilst assisting to help me in my campaign process. If you would like to support me, if you live in the West Midlands, I promise you that I will represent you, the people of the West Midlands, and only you of the West Midlands. No one will tell me what I can and can't say. Nobody will pull in my strings, and it is for you that I will represent your needs and only your needs.
Whilst campaigning for your post, Julie, for 2020, I've seen the stickers there. You can show the viewers if you like.
I have posters that you can put in your houses. I have shop posters that if there are any shops that would like to have them. I also have car stickers. They're all free. If you'd like them, you contact us on our Justice for the 21 website and you can send an email. It will come through to us. And on here is a GoFundMe site. I've set up a GoFundMe site to help me raise £10,000. I'm just under £1,000 at the moment, but I do have a bank account where I've had £1,000 donated from Surtech Limited. Grant Adams, who is the chief executive of Surtech Limited, kindly donated £1,000 because he supports me in my candidature. If you can support me, even if it's only £5, I would really appreciate any assistance. Thank you.
Try and support Julie as much as you can. Julie, your experiences, you've just come back from Ireland. Now, you went out there, I've seen a lot of articles in the media where there's a lot of publicity happening just because of your position and where you're going, because of the campaign and everyone supporting you there. Where has this took you so far, the post, and who have you met?
We went to Ireland about 3 weeks ago and we were met graciously by the President of Ireland, President Higgins, who we had met previously earlier this year when he came to see our new memorial, which was funded and put together with the help of the Birmingham Irish Association, because the Irish community in Birmingham were castigated relentlessly after the bombings, and that was wrong, and we have been fighting behind the scenes to try and bring the Irish community of Birmingham back into the fold and to have what we had before the bombings in 1974, because especially with me running to be the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner, I'm a strong believer that community cohesion is fundamental to crime prevention. Irrelevant as to your culture, irrelevant to your background, irrelevant to your faith. Together, we work together, we study together, we play together. But fundamentally, the cohesion of community is hugely important as a way to reduce crime. And it is desperately needed in the West Midlands at the moment.
Definitely, as Sikhs, we believe in Sarbat Pala, which is welfare for all. So we try and do that within our projects and campaigns. And like today, we're bringing Julie, who's not from a Sikh background, onto a Sikh media station to try and show how community cohesion is going to work and how we collectively, as campaigners for different campaigns, come together, how we network and how we've been working, trying to support each other on that. So it's very important that we all do support Julie. She's a fantastic campaigner, and I believe that she will be supporting the community best she can. How have you found your experiences with the Sikh community and other communities whilst campaigning for the Justice for the 21?
I have to say that irrelevant as to what community or background or faith that people come from, the support we have received has made us realise that humanity is good. There are more good souls in this world than there are bad. Because having lost our sister, I was only 11, and I will never forget that. None of us will. You can't explain or describe what it does to you. It leaves a gaping hole in your heart and in your soul and in your DNA. You can't, it's impossible to try and explain the impact it has on you and how your life changes forever. But the kindness of people that we have found since we started campaigning nearly a decade ago has made us realise that humanity is out there in force. And Sikh community, I mean, all that you do, the Sikh community, you help the homeless, you feed the homeless, you go and take toys and raise money for the children, sick children at the hospices and at hospitals, and what the Muslim community does, what the Hindus and Buddhists, the Christians, and all faiths, or people of non-faith, they come together to assist others who are in need, and that's what they did for us. And now, for me, doing this, believe it or not, I'm speaking from the heart, doing this will be my way of, in some small way, giving back something that I hope will help, if only a handful of people. It will be a way for us as a family to say thank you for everything to everyone that they have done for us.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
It's been a really powerful interview. I just wanted to finish off, if you've got any final messages that you want to send out there to the community and to get any support you want, or any final message to anyone out there, any well wishes or any other campaigns that you want to support, just put a final message out there to the viewers.
We'd like to say thank you to everybody who has supported us today. And if you'd like to support me, an independent, please help fund me, because that's what I need. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to the show, Julie. Appreciate all your support, and a massive shout out to the Justice for the 21. 45 years this November. Make sure you all get behind it, turn up and support them. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on social media. Make sure you support them as much as you can. Thank you for coming, Julie. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.